Oh, how are you, bro?
Good, man. We're back for episode number 2.
2026.
2026. The holidays have come and gone as well, really quickly. I'm sure everyone's in the same boat.
Yeah.
And January is also over.
Yeah, we're February pretty much tomorrow. So 31 days in January. I can't believe I can't remember that. I've been alive for how long? Last time we spoke was December.
It was December. A lot's happened. Probably the most prominent thing would be the Venezuela extraction or takeover, whatever you want to call it. You know,
hostage situation. I don't know.
To be honest, in a way, I thought it was pretty impressive that they got in.
Yeah.
And they got out all in the space of whatever it was.
Yeah.
30, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And of course, it was done after New Year's Day, and it just happened really quick.
We knew it was coming. Obviously, the build-up with the military, the navy, and all that stuff. Like, it was bound to happen.
Yeah, we specifically. I remember speaking about this.
Yeah.
It was something that's been going on for the last few months.
Yeah. You know? So I guess the big question mark that everyone's been speaking about is, was it over drugs or was it over oil?
Look,
was it both?
I think it was a bit of both, but I think it was predominantly the oil. And that's one thing with Trump. You've also, I know a lot of people don't like him, or they do like him, but you also got to appreciate his directness. He's always said it's about the oil.
Yeah.
It's the oil first.
Yeah.
You know, so, and when they got Maduro, basically the next day they seized a lot of oil tankers, and they said they're going to sell it on the market and they're going to keep the money. You know, they're going to give some back to the Venezuelans and they're going to keep some. You know, so he's said it. You know, it's not like he's trying to hide it. So I think it's about the oil, but I also think it's about securing the North and South America. For
sure, and I think it was China that has a big influence or a lot of surveillance coming out of Venezuela.
Well, I think predominantly it was for oil. Yeah. And 90% of Venezuela's oil was going to China.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's where America thought strategically it makes sense to go into Venezuela to stop that flow of oil. Or at least if they do, then profit from it somehow.
Yeah. Trump's going to do what he says he's going to do, right? Looks like it.
Hopefully our politicians are listening.
Yeah.
You know, that's sort of the way the world is going.
Yeah.
And I think, authenticity goes a long way, especially when it comes to social media and getting validation with what you're trying to push. You know, if you are authentic, I think people appreciate it more.
For sure. So we spoke about that, but we also, I think I spoke about the carry trade unwind.
Yes.
Which is happening.
It's happening as we speak.
Yeah.
You know, we have gold, 5,500, was it?
Yeah, 7,800 Aussie dollars, 5.5 US.
I checked this morning, silver's gone to 120 US.
And last time we spoke, it was sitting around 50, 60.
Yep.
And in the beginning of 2025, it was $25.
Yep, it was.
Crazy.
So it's definitely unwinding. The Japanese, there is a lot of yen out there. And I think they're starting to sell US dollars to offset the yen as well. And that's also put a negative impact on the US dollar as well. When they're selling US dollars, it makes the US dollars more supply.
Yeah.
So then it makes it cheaper for the US.
Yep.
So it loses its value essentially. So that's why you see the Aussie dollar absolutely peaking.
It is. It's a
71
today. Wow. And we haven't seen numbers like that since probably COVID, right?
Yeah, I can't remember, but it was
COVID in 2008.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
It's a long time. I remember in 2010, 2012, we went to $1.10.
Wow.
The US dollar to Aussie dollar. But I think, Trump's also actively wanting the US dollar to be cheaper. So he's making sly comments, which are causing the market to react. You know?
I saw an interview with him the other day, and an interview lady asked him, is it a good thing that the American dollar is decreasing in value?
I guess.
And he completely changed the topic of the conversation and went to how the Japanese yen, what they did to that, and basically said what he was doing, but through what Japan did with their yen.
And also China's been doing as well.
Yeah.
That's why they're exporting to the world. They're making it so cheap that you basically have to buy from China.
Yeah.
You know, so they artificially depress their currency and make it cheap. So then it's cheaper for other countries around the world to purchase things.
To purchase.
You know?
Yeah. And then we have Iran, probably the biggest talking point right now.
Well, I think it is one of the biggest talking points if you're actually looking.
Yeah.
The media is not
True.
talking about it at all.
They aren't, especially here.
Especially here
in Australia.
No one's talking about it at all. But there are tensions in the Middle East, and it's, you know, they've sent ships there. Everyone's getting ready. Oil is absolutely peaking.
Yeah.
You know, it was $50 or 50 something last week. Now it's like 65.
Yeah, which is interesting because I think I was under the impression that it was going to go up. You were under the impression that it might have gone down due to Venezuela.
Yes.
And things like that. So now we're seeing it up towards that, what, $65 per barrel.
Yeah.
Where do we think it goes?
Oh, if there is a conflict,
it's going up.
It's going
$90, $100 a barrel. Hey,
it's going to go up really quickly.
Yeah.
And what will happen on the other side of that as well is probably the US dollar will then strengthen.
Yeah.
So when there's always tensions and there's risks, the US dollar is usually seen as the safest asset. So the value of the US dollar jumps. So when people go to war, US dollar becomes more expensive. Oil, obviously because you've got the Middle East, also jumps because there's a shock, there's a supply shock.
Yeah.
You know, there's less stock coming onto the market, you have the same demand, you're going to see prices go up.
Yeah. So the topic of last conversation we had was around the reset, around, you know, probably going into a recession. What is that looking like now from your angle?
Look, I think if there is a war, you know, the economies start to slow down and shut down because there's uncertainty. But I think, you know, before we get to that point, I think back here at home in Australia, we're talking about increasing rates next week.
True.
You know, we were talking about this last December. You know, you've got energy rebates, and I keep talking about this because I've been harping on about it all year. They cut the energy rebates. There's, you know, Chalmers has come up with a $48 billion accounting mistake. So they're spending more money. The NDIS is getting blown out of proportion, and because of all of these coming together, inflation's come back.
Yep. And the sentiment, you know, towards the end of the last year was we're good. It's going down.
We're going to cut.
But it's turned around so quickly.
It just takes a few readings back.
Yeah, and this is why you've got to really be looking underneath the mainstream media, don't you? Like, because from our angle and what we were seeing was that the interest rates were going to go up.
Yes.
Like, you and I were both saying, like, it going down just doesn't make any sense.
No way.
Because of the inflation, because of prices, because of unemployment and all those things. So back to your point, like on home soil, next week, interest rates go up 25 basis points. What are we going to see in businesses, in people?
I think because what happens is when it comes to sentiment, if you think things are going to go down in terms of interest rates, naturally you're going to feel the propensity to spend more. Because you're like, don't worry, it's going to be cheaper. I have more cash left. It's going to keep going down, and you may go do that extra bigger purchase. If now the sentiment has changed and things look like they're going to continue to go up, all of a sudden you're like, well, okay, it's only going to go up 25 basis points this month. But what happens if it goes up another 25, however many times? All of a sudden you're like, oh, I should not do that big purchase, or I'm not going to spend that money. And it starts to turn into this cycle where you start pulling back. Because you don't know. Because before the direction was we're going down, rates are going down. Now it's like, well, it's going to continue to go up. So this is where uncertainty sticks in. And if you're right on the edge of the mortgage, and we were saying this last year, we had the 5% deposit scheme for first-time buyers.
Smashing house prices up.
You know, they had a push-pull type of mentality where they're like, well, we want to help first-time buyers get into the market, but we're not going to increase supply. We're going to give them more demand.
And less supply.
All
the supply stays the same.
You know? And it's like, we're going to give all these handouts to these first-time buyers. And what's going to happen is, if I don't have to pay lender's mortgage insurance of 25 or 30 grand, all of a sudden, I have 30 grand more to spend. And naturally, it pushed house prices up. Those people are now into the market. And this is, you know, let's see what happens next week. But
I hope they've got some extra savings. Those people that bought the properties.
Well, they're maxed out. You're putting only 5% down, so you've got a 95% loan.
Yeah.
So you could only assume, and we're talking about Sydney because we live in Sydney.
Yeah, of course.
You know, if you're borrowing $1 million, 25 basis points doesn't sound like much,
It's heaps.
but it's an extra 2.5.
Well, I think the math was if you have a $700,000 loan, you're looking at about $100 extra a month.
Yeah.
I think.
Well,
That's correct.
If you have $1 million mortgage, 0.25 is $2.5 grand.
Yeah, 2.5. Yeah.
A year. So
Correct.
that's, you know, you're talking about $50 a week.
Yeah.
On a month, you're probably looking at like $250, $300 a month, whatever it is.
Yeah, and that's just off one rate rise.
One rate.
Yeah.
One rate.
If we see a few of those, then it's a lot of money.
But it's not even so a few of those. It's like now all of a sudden the mentality changes.
It changes. Yeah.
It's like, well, it's not going down anymore. Like I was thinking it's going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and I'm going to have all these extra dollars in my pay packet. Now all of a sudden it's going to go up once. How many more times is it going to go up?
Yeah, exactly.
So it just now it's like there's a whole shift in the mindset, you know, which is not good for economies.
And then I love seeing, you know, on mainstream news the finger pointing.
Yeah,
It's his fault. It's her fault. It's their fault. It's not our fault. It's, you know, fuck.
I saw Chalmers saying it's Liberals' fault. It's like the Libs haven't been here for 4 years.
Mate, they got smashed in the last election. They've done nothing.
Like at the moment, there's not even a Liberal Party, right?
No, not really.
So how can you blame the Libs? You've been there for 4 years. You know?
I've noticed and we spoke about this kind of privately, the push of the Nationalist Party.
Oh, One Nation.
One Nation?
Yeah.
Is it One Nation?
Well, One Nation.
Is that Nationalist? Did I get that wrong? What are the Nationalists?
You got the Coalition.
Coalition is Liberals.
Is the National Party.
Right.
And the Liberals put together.
Okay, right. So One Nation.
Yeah,
is
so
being
One
pushed.
Nation is Pauline Hanson, yeah.
Pauline Hanson and what's his name? Barnaby
Barnaby
Joyce. Have you've noticed that the push on that sort of party and
Well, I think I don't know if it's people going more towards that party or more revolting from the two parties.
yeah.
Because they're like, well, I'm not happy with Labor or Liberals what they're doing.
So they're going
somewhere else. You know, so I think that's what's sort of happening.
Yeah.
You know, you've got One Nation, you've got the Greens. I think people see the Greens maybe too far one way. One Nation is probably too far the other way, but at least they're not as far left or as far right as the Greens. So I think that's where people are sort of deflecting. Like, well, we've got two major parties, we've got two smaller parties. I'm going to either join one of these two smaller parties, you know, because I don't agree with what the two bigger parties are doing. So,
Pauline Hanson, mate, she could be Prime Minister.
look, I think it's a long
way off. But it's not another 2 years, right?
It's another 2 years.
Yeah.
But it's going to be.
It's interesting.
It's going to be interesting and increasingly more important because it's not so much whether she's going to get in or not; it's the preferences.
But she also aligns a bit more with Trump's party and sort of direction, right? She's in that mentality.
She's more of like a populist.
Yeah.
You know? She's like, well, immigration strength.
Yeah.
You got to do this, and this, and I think that aligns probably more with Trump.
Yeah.
A bit. But in saying that, you know, like there's no really other alternative. Like,
No, well, the Liberals are completely split at the moment, and I mean, Labor's probably going to get blamed for the economy.
Or they have to take the blame.
They
at
have
some
to.
point.
They're in charge of the country.
You know, they've been there for 4 years. That's
Correct.
right. Like you cannot keep blaming. Like you can't blame John Howard.
You can't.
Like-
Yeah, poor Johnny Howard.
John Howard came and went. You know?
Yeah.
You know, like whenever you get into government, you can maybe blame for 6 months.
Yeah.
Maybe a year if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But then after that, it's on you.
That's it. Yeah. So I guess back to the reset and the economy globally. What happens? What do we reckon?
Well, look, I think America's still going to power ahead, especially when it comes to AI and tech. Their stock market is peaking. You know, people are saying, America's going to fall behind and all this sort of stuff. Maybe. But at the moment, they're not seeing it. Like America's economy increased like 4.5% last quarter.
Yeah.
And that was with the government shutdown.
Yeah.
So if you put the government shutdown, all that money back in, you're probably looking at America growing like 5 or 6%, which is insane. America probably hasn't never grown that fast or that soon. You know, those numbers are like the way China grows.
Yeah.
China grows about 5.5%.
Yeah.
At the peak of the GFC, in 2008, that period, I think they were growing like 7 or 8%.
Yeah.
That's really fast, really big.
Yeah.
And if America can keep up with that type of growth, yeah, you know, they're trying to assert their dominance.
Yeah, for sure. And what do you think the end game is really? Like, where if we're looking like 5 years, because there's a lot happening, right? So there's obviously an end game in mind. Like I was talking to you before about like the globalization and like potentially the end of that. Like, do you think that could be something that happens, or?
Look, I think definitely. I think they're trying to reshore manufacturing and all that stuff back to the US, and I think all countries are doing it.
Yeah.
Even Europe's trying to do it now because they see risks geopolitically. Australia's doing it too.
Yeah.
I think everybody is doing it to sort of look after their own back
Themselves. Yeah.
Because it's becoming too. It's supposed to be easier to trade with globalization.
Well, it's doing the exact opposite to what it's meant to do. So
Exactly.
it was brought in because of World War II and making every country stronger off the back of their strengths and trading with each other.
Yep.
But now we're seeing the opposite of that.
Well, we're seeing the most advanced economies, the divergence between rich and poor just getting bigger and
bigger. Right. Yeah.
So I think that's where a lot of countries are going to start worrying about themselves now.
Yeah.
Even Australia's doing it. They're talking about building solar panels now in Australia, and it's like China's
always been the
exporter
to us for solar panels,
and it's like it's going to be more expensive and all the rest of it that comes with onshoring manufacturing. But I think people are starting to realise like globalization is great for certain things, but at the end of the day, you also want to keep your home base happy.
For sure. And technology is changing as well, which changes everything.
Well, if you listen to Elon, he thinks that everybody's going to have a robot probably in the next few years, and if that happens, which it looks like increasingly it will
happen,
if that happens, then it completely shifts the whole migration argument as well, because then you won't need migration because you're going to have robots, but then you work for the robots, so
Terminator. Yeah, it's and like if you think about that as well, like robots, AI, jobs, like 5-10 years time, a lot of people aren't going to need to work. Well, there's not going to be a need for them to work as much.
Well, there's going to be a massive displacement in labour initially, I think anyway, because those robots are going to do the tasks right at the bottom first. I'd love to have a robot in my house that washes the dishes, that cuts the grass, that does all of that. And if that happens, I'm buying one. But then all of a sudden, it's like, yes, it's going to give me more time to do other things. But then you won't need, the person that cuts the grass or the cleaner at home or whatever people you have coming over, because you're going to have a robot. Even like the robo taxis, which are absolutely insane. I saw Elon push them out a few months ago, and the cars are just going to...
The ones that are driving on their own?
On their own.
Yeah, I've seen those. So Uber drivers, really?
Like, it's just...
Taxis.
Taxis, it's like, you're going to have a car just pick you up, which is absolutely insane.
But I mean, even aside from robots, like even just ChatGPT and AI, like it's going to develop even more. And they're talking about that AGI, which is like the super intelligent AI, whatever, software. Like, even me now, like when you go to look up, needs for like social media posting and like even just getting, legal advice, you can do it all through AI.
100%, yeah. It's making the process a lot easier.
Simpler, easier, more accessible.
More accessible, and it also gives people the base to at least understand things before they go meet a lawyer.
And spend less money.
Spend less money. So it's making so technology actually makes things cheaper eventually. Because there's a massive supply of it.
So if you're not using it, really, you're in trouble.
100%. Like, I think it's coming whether you like it or not. And it's just like the internet. In the beginning, nobody wanted the internet in the 2000s, and they're like, oh, this, all your data's on there and all this sort of stuff. Now, if you don't use the internet,
you don't have a business, really.
You don't have a business. You're a dinosaur.
So it's the same thing with AI, really. We're looking at the same thing happening back in the .com era when that happened.
But just a lot faster.
Much faster.
Much faster. Like, I think the next 5 years are going to be insane.
100%. And then you have things like, talking more longer term, if you have that happen, less people being needed for labour or jobs or whatever, then you start to think about, well, how do they make money? How do people make money? But obviously things become cheaper. So companies make more money, governments probably make more money, whatever. Then we start to think about, well, and this is what Elon's been talking about a lot, is UBI, Universal Basic Income, which he's been sort of pushing for ages.
He has. Yeah.
And it's like, in my head, what does that look like? And then how does it work, and what are they using? What technology?
Well, I just heard this morning that they put 24 Neuralinks into people.
Really?
Today.
Wow.
So they're starting to test it, and now people can control devices and stuff from their brain.
And that's a pretty big increase, because I only had about a couple of people that had used it before, but they were handicapped people, like they couldn't, Yeah,
so these are just normal people.
These are just normal people.
They've elected to be basically guinea pigs. 24 people this morning.
Would you ever do it?
Not yet, no.
No way. Have you seen Fallout?
No.
Watch Fallout. You won't do it.
I think there's like at least, your body is up to you.
Yeah.
If you put something that can access your brain, like I think that's probably one step too far for me.
100%.
Because then it knows my thoughts, and everybody has weird thoughts, right?
100%.
All of a sudden that's going to be recorded somewhere for someone to look up. It's like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting, because this is kind of where my theory of, and we spoke about this last time, this is where my theory of where XRP sits. So you look at AI, you look at robotics, you look at like unemployment probably increasing, things becoming cheaper because things are cheaper to manufacture, because of technology. People need some sort of income. If universal basic income is a thing, they're going to need fast payments.
True.
Global payments.
Look, at the moment, crypto is getting smashed.
It's getting smashed, yeah.
And that's specifically because of the yen carry trade.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. It's like there's a lot of money that's unwinding from that, billions, probably trillions, and that's having a negative impact on crypto prices.
Yeah.
I think this morning I checked, Bitcoin was like...
It's 84 US.
84 US.
Yeah.
Ripple's like $1.80.
XRP actually dropped to $1.80. Yeah, that's right.
So there's a lot going on in that space as well, and it's all contingent on what the US does this weekend, if they do something, or next weekend. And as this carry trade sort of unwinds, let's see where it takes Bitcoin and all the rest of the cryptos.
Yeah, I think we could see probably a bigger fall. My theory was that we'd see a pump at the end of last year. We did get a pump in January. In early Jan, we saw XRP up about 35%. I think it got up to about a $2.30 US dollar early on, but then it came back down pretty quick. But we did see, and I messaged you this earlier, the Clarity Act passing the committee, which is huge, which is the crypto structure bill. So those things are starting to play out. The carry trade unwind is starting to play out. Oil prices are going up. Could we see a devaluation of fiat currencies?
I think it's already happening.
Yeah.
Like that's why you see silver and gold go absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
I think you've got especially China trying to get out of US dollars, and they're just buying raw commodities, copper, silver, gold, iron ore. That's what they're buying because they're getting ready for whatever comes next. If there is like a global trade war, the US dollar could devalue even more. So why wouldn't you go out today and buy everything while you've still got the value in those dollars?
But see, because you kind of mentioned before that, we're seeing a devaluation of the dollar right now, but you were saying that like if we do go to a war, that the US dollar can recover and get stronger. My sort of thought process is, well, instead of seeing the American dollar get stronger after that, do we see a rotation into something new, something else, like stable coins or CBDCs?
Look, I think it's definitely possible. Like I think CBDCs are going to come whether we like it or not.
Yeah,
it's going to happen. It's going to happen when there is some sort of recession or some sort of drama in the financial system. That's when they'll introduce it as the solution. So I think there could be a CBDC, which is a central bank
digital currency. Yeah,
and I think there could be an uptake. I think it just depends how they do this.
That's the question. That's kind of where my head's at, is like all these things are unfolding, the things that I've kind of not seen coming, but like thought, that could happen, this could happen. And there's an end game to this, because we've seen it before, like 80 years ago when we saw the Great Depression. You know, we saw currencies get completely wiped out. And we saw the gold standard come in.
And then they removed it in...
And then they removed it again
yeah.
in 72. Obviously, we're seeing that gold standard come back. We've even seen Trump talk about it, you know, bringing the golden era back. He said it.
Oh, so he's got the golden ticket as well.
He's painted the White House gold inside his room, the Oval Office. That's kind of where my head's at. I'm thinking like after. But it's how and why is the question mark. Is it through like a World War III or a global trade war, or I don't know.
Look, I think we are already in World War III. You know, like...
It's a good point.
In a way, like, it doesn't have to be physically shooting like World War II, World War I.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of cyber stuff going on at the moment.
Yeah.
As well. And I think that's how the wars are getting played out now. It's with trade.
I think that's a good point, because like a lot of people, and even myself included, like you think about like the world wars we've had before, obviously well before our time, but they were like very, very different to what we would see now. Like, what is a World War III? That's more of the question, isn't it? It's not, is it going to happen? I think you're right. I think it is happening.
Yeah.
It's like, what does it actually look like? And I think it'll be like, you know, nuclear threats, trade wars, different alliances, things like that.
Well, I think like nuclear is definitely a risk, you know, but I think the three superpowers of the world know that they have the tech to completely control, like, get rid of the world, right?
Yeah.
So I think...
But that's not on the cards. Like, that doesn't benefit anyone. So
it's a lose-lose.
It's a threat, but that's it, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Because it's a lose-lose.
Yeah.
Because the moment somebody pushes that red button...
Someone's pushing the other red button.
And it's like... So I think this is where the wars are going to get played out with currencies, with trade, with world...
securities as well.
Yeah, securities. Like, I think that's where it's going to come from.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's already in play. I think the US now... I think it's clear that they've got the number one target, which is China. And the US and China are fighting for position number one.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's what's happening.
Yeah.
You know? And to a lesser extent, you've got Russia. But I think, yeah...
They're not really a big player in the game, though, are they? Like...
Well, when it comes to 1 and 2, it's China.
It's China and US.
You know, so I think this is where all the alliances form, and all of the trade routes happen. This is where money gets transferred, wealth. This is where it happens.
Yeah, and so Silk Road is the trade route that China uses through Iran to get to Europe.
The One Belt Initiative. Yep.
Yeah. So, like, what's that got to do? Like, I mean, is that part of America's play as well? Like, to cut off China's trade through Iran?
I think that's why the Americans are going into Iran.
Yeah, like boots on the ground.
Like boots on the ground, because it's going to have a route from China basically to Europe. So it's going to cause big instability in global trade. So I think that's why the Americans want to stop it. You know, because everything else now goes via, you know, American routes essentially by American partners or alliances.
Yeah.
If they go through Iran, which is not aligned with America, then all of a sudden China has a route to Europe that doesn't go via the American way.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they're sort of...
Yeah, makes sense.
You know, that's why they're looking at Iran.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I reckon we see strikes this weekend.
Well, the oil market is acting like it's already happened.
Yeah, they've probably priced it in.
It's already been priced in. The stock market hasn't moved yet. It's Friday afternoon here.
But crypto has. Crypto always feels it first, though, don't they? Normally.
Well, it's a risk-off play.
Yeah.
So, like I was saying before, the US dollar becomes safer. Everyone runs to the US dollar. So they sell their assets that are making them money.
Yeah.
And crypto is an easy one to get out of. It's not a property in Sydney where you have to go through the whole process.
Selling process. Yeah, true.
You have US dollars. You have, say you've got crypto. You go into the exchange. You sell it in US dollars. Bang.
Yeah, it's done.
Quick.
It's easy. What's your advice to people now, being in January?
I think there's a lot of caution at the moment. I think, like, especially when it comes to investing as well, there's going to be a lot of volatility going up and down. You know, if you're willing to ride that volatility, you know, whether it's the stock market, the crypto market, you have to have a lot of guts.
You have to have a lot of guts and a lot of insight as well.
You have to watch it.
You need to be watching what's happening behind the scenes and not just looking at price.
For sure, and I think you also need to see, the other media sources out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
don't just watch Channel 9.
No, well, by the time it hits Channel 9, it's too late.
It's too late. That's a really good point, actually, because I've noticed now, obviously, on Channel 9, they're talking about like inflation and blaming each other in terms of government and things like that. And that was the one thing that I learnt quite a while ago, is when the mainstream media are saying we're going into a recession or the economy is going to be going through a crisis, it's too late.
It's too late.
It's too late.
Yeah, well, that's like in trading. Whenever you're trading anything, the money moves first. It hits the retail market last. This is why they always say that the big boys win.
Yeah.
Because they know the inside knowledge, they know the information.
They know the path.
They know the path. They know how it happens.
Yeah.
And by the time when it gets to the retail market is right at the end, and they're usually known as the bag holders, because they're holding the bag at the end.
Yeah, and they can kind of manipulate the market a little bit with selling and buying and.
Well, not the retail guys, because they're too small.
The bigger corporations, though. Yeah. What are you looking for? What are you sort of preparing for? What's your moves through this period? Are you sitting tight?
I'm just sitting tight at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, I think as well, like, if you're looking at property could go either way. If all of a sudden now you're seeing a shift with a bit of more looking Australia first, if they look at cutting migration, or not even cutting, just talk about reviewing migration, that's all of a sudden it's going to impact demand, and then that's going to impact prices. So, there's a lot of stuff going through the government at the moment. They're talking about the Royal Commission, they're talking about who they're letting in. There's a lot of focus on this at the moment. So, and with rates going up as well, the uncertainty there, how many more times are the rates going to go up?
Yeah.
So until there's a bit of clarity in that, to me, the property market, it's going to do it. Like people always say to me, but it's going to do well over 20 or 30 years. I'm like, I get that, I understand that, but I'm not talking 30 years time. I'm not talking about from when we're 70. Like, I'm talking about now. Like, what can you do now, and what's going to impact the markets now, which you can benefit from now, not waiting until you're about to retire.
30 years is 30 years away. Yeah.
Of course, house prices are going to be more in the year 2050. Like, we know this.
Yeah.
So that argument, well, it's going to go up. I get that, right? But it also, what is the opportunity cost of you buying something, getting a big mortgage, and not doing other types of investments that could yield you more, or less, and maybe have a better lifestyle now, instead of waiting until you retire and you're about to cark it.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
So what about you? Tell me what you're thinking.
Well, I mean, you pretty much know my bet, and I'm even more confident about it now than ever because of the scenarios that are playing out. But in terms of property, yeah, I'm not going anywhere near it. I'm sitting tight. Obviously, I've got the 2 gyms, which I think it'll be interesting to see how much the interest rates affect business because. I mean, the end of last year, we had a pretty good run. Like, people were still spending. New members were coming in and we're doing really, really well. It's just going back to normal now. Like, I mean, school holidays are over next week. So generally in the gym, industry or the fitness industry, you see an uptick in memberships through February and March.
Yeah, but that's because also get fit for the new year, all that stuff.
So it'll be really telling, I think, to see how much of an uptick we get with what's going on. Yeah. So my advice is save cash, have money aside if you don't get those memberships come through. Because I mean, if you see interest rates go up a little bit, plus inflation and everything else is getting expensive, then that $60 to $150 a week that they might spend on a gym, they might give it up.
They might cut it out. Yeah.
They might cut it out. The good thing is, after COVID, a lot of people have prioritised training. But, I mean, also with technology and people being able to train on their own and learning more about it than ever, they do have those opportunities too. So,
but there's also cheaper gyms as well.
There are cheaper gyms.
So like, it's like, if I don't want to spend $150 a month, I could maybe spend $50.
$15 a week at a 24/7 gym. So, yeah, I think it's really important as a business owner, particularly in gyms, to have a buffer in case we don't see a big rise in new memberships, because typically in winter you see a pullback because of less motivation. So, yeah.
And the European holidays.
European holidays, people go away, spend more money. I don't know if we'll see that this year. We might get more people training. I don't know.
Yeah, well, if that happens, then less people traveling overseas, so they have more cash. To spend,
Yeah,
right?
I mean that's true. Like you could see them pull back on those things and pick up on training. But plan for the worst. Always plan. I think in these situations, plan for the worst and fucking hope for the best. Work hard, and the best should come. But these things are out of your control sometimes.
Look, you should always have cash.
100%.
No matter who you speak to, you've got Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
He was running Berkshire Hathaway, got 400 billion or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You got Apple, has got 300 billion cash.
Yeah. They
cash,
plan.
They plan.
They plan.
Because there's always going to be cycles where things go up, like in terms of the economy, prices and assets, and the rest of it goes up and it goes down. And you have to be ready for that.
That's the thing. Like it's not all doom and gloom either. Like we've spoken about this before, where if you are awake to the fact that things are changing, there are opportunities.
Oh, it's the easiest time ever to
make cash. Yeah.
Like it's, and I saw this thing pop up on my feed about that OnlyFans chick. She made $100 million last year.
Yeah. What do you think? Are you thinking to get an OnlyFans?
But like it's absolutely insane. Like and I responded to someone saying she could be the quickest billionaire.
Yeah.
Because if you're making 100 million in a year or year or two, it's like, well, like money is the easiest to make and also to lose because you've got access to the internet. You can come up with a package and sell whatever you need to sell. You can access the whole world.
Yeah.
The market is your whole world. Whereas before, without the internet, the market was your little area that you had.
That's true. Like business is going to look very different over the next 5 years.
It's changing. Like even in the gym space, before you used to have gyms that just you have a membership. Now you've got gyms that have other services. They have like I've seen they've got podcasts, they've got videos to how to train.
Yeah.
Like there's all these platforms.
Yeah.
They're trying to be different. They're like, well, if you cannot get to the gym today, why don't you just do an online session?
Yeah, for sure.
At home with a kettlebell.
We're actually seeing the rise of like the big wellness centers, like these big $2, $3, $4 million gyms being built that have everything. Cafes, supplement stores, wellness, recovery, training, and people are spending like big money on these gyms. So it's interesting. There's a shift happening for sure, and I think it's going to happen in every industry.
Look, I think especially the fitness industry is positioned well for AI because you cannot AI your training.
No, you can't.
Like you can get up the plans and all that, but you physically have to do.
You got to get your ass to the gym.
You have to do it, whether it's at home or at the gym. Yeah. So I think that's where the fitness industry is probably at an advantage.
Yeah.
The good ones are going to make it.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. It's again interesting. We'll catch up next week because I think a lot's going to happen in a week.
Over the weekend, and what's Friday here? So let's see what happens over the next few days if something does happen. But expect a lot of movements in the markets regardless.
Yeah. Go XRP.